This video is brought to you by ASIP12 Productions. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to enjoy the videos. Also, please try and comment and rate the videos. Thank you. Hey guys, ASIP here and welcome to C++ tutorial number 9. Today we're just going to be covering the if statement. So let's open up our code. I've pre-prepared some myself. And of course we're just going to be looking at the if statement. So here we have the basic setup of an if statement. We have if, we actually type the word if, and then between parentheses we have an expression, and then we have two braces, and then a statement. So what happens here, or actually before I continue, there's also an alternative way to do it. If you only have one statement you want to execute, you can use the if statement without the braces. You can just have a statement like this, and it will also work if you have it like that. That will work as well as this, but this is a generally better way to do it. It just looks neater, and this essentially is exactly the same as this. This way just allows you to have multiple statements because you're using braces, whereas here, as soon as it finds this semicolon, it will break away from the if statement. And what's happening in both of these here, as I've written down, is if the expression is true, so if the expression here is true, then the statement, this code here and here, is executed. Otherwise the statement is skipped, so this code is skipped if the expression is false, and the program branches to the statement after the if statement. So say we had statements before here and after here, so it executes this code and then it hits this if statement. It says, is this expression true? And if it is, it will execute the statement here, and then it will continue on with the code after. Otherwise, it will hit this if statement and say, is this expression true? Oh wait, no it isn't. I'm not going to execute this statement then, and I'm just going to skip this entire if block here and just go straight on to the next code down here. Okay? And to demonstrate this very simply, I've just got this very simple if statement. It says, if, and then my condition is true, and we're using the curly braces here. Although I'm only using one statement, I just prefer the if. I just prefer to use curly braces. It feels neater, more neater for me. So I'll always be using curly braces. So we're saying is true true, and if it is, then output true, and 3 line breaks. And if we just save this and press F5 to compile and run, we can see here the first statement outputted is true, and this is because true is true. You know, true is naturally true. So of course it doesn't skip the block, and it executes the code between the curly braces, and then it will continue to go on. That's why we've got some more statements. If this was false, then this statement would not be output. Let's just demonstrate that quickly actually. So I'm going to change the true to false. Okay, save it, F5, oops, F5. Okay, and now we can see there are only 3 words outputted, whereas originally we have 4 when this was true. And before we move on, I just want to briefly cover the true and false words in C++. When we actually write true in C++, the program isn't actually thinking of it as the word true. It's thinking of it as a numerical value, okay? Because everything in a computer is stored as a numerical value, even if it's a character. Because characters, you know, you have the ASCII character set, and every character has a number. So, for instance, this isn't true, but you know, A would be character 1. So we could say, you know, when we're assigning a char variable, when we're defining a char variable, rather than saying A, we could type 1 outside of the quotes, and that would be the equivalent of saying A. So in C++, typing true is the equivalent of typing any number that is not 0. It can also be negative, so it could be this negative 487439, or it could be positive 812832. And when we type false, we're talking about only one value, and that is 0, okay? 0 in everything means false, all the time, okay? So when we write false, what's actually behind the false keyword is 0. And although you may type this number, you know, for instance, when you assign a bool variable, if you say bool blah equals whatever, the computer will convert this value into what it sees fit as a bit value, and it will store it as either a 0 or a 1. 1 if it's true, of course, and 0 if it's false. And because this number is not 0, it may contain zeros, but it's not the actual value 0 by itself. The computer will store this boolean variable as or 1. Okay. So what we're going to see later on is that we can actually provide, as we've done here, single values like true. We can give it just a variable, and that will give us a resulting expression. Now you may not understand that, and that's okay for the moment. All you need to understand at the moment is that the if statement checks if the condition between these two parentheses is true, and if it is, it will execute the code between the curly braces, or otherwise it will only execute the code until it encounters a semicolon. And if it's false, it will completely skip the statement in between the curly braces, and it will just continue executing code after that if statement. Now moving on, we come to the very useful else statement. Now here we're checking to see if false is true. Now of course everyone knows false is not true, because you know that's the way the world goes, okay? So of course we know instantly that false will not be output. But there's a separate hope for this block. Whereas before here, if we change this to false, it was never going to output anything, because false is not true, so this block is completely skipped. Whereas here, it may be false, so it won't execute this block, but we've got a little else statement here, and the else statement just attaches to any if or else if above, okay? So you may not understand, and don't worry about that either yet, we'll talk about that in a sec.